I think when we look at development in the county, we definitely need to look at water issues before we decide whether or not we're going to expand urban growth boundaries. So, that's your question. Yes.
This is a very esoteric question and relates to intergovernmental cooperation.
Okay.
So, what do you see the role of the Marion County Commissioner, and Commissioners, plural, County Commission, as regards to working with other governmental agencies like COG, City of Salem, City of Silverton, those kinds of things?
Well, I know that we have organizations where those different local governments get together, but I definitely feel that the county commissioners should be working with the cities. I mean, it does not make sense to me that they wouldn't. Whether it's some addition that the city might be wanting to make within already approved urban growth boundaries, or whether it's dealing with family issues. I think that they need to partner with them. The family issues is more of a partnership with the state, because I know that the state and the county partner a lot when it comes to that sort of thing. I think that they have to work closely. They have to communicate. The reality is we all live in the same community. We might have different government agencies handling this or that, but we're all influencing the same community. So yes, we have to work very closely together.
Well, this is a comment. I'm a former city councilor, for Salem.
Okay.
And for the last probably 10 years that I went by, the current Marion County Commissioners have basically said to Salem, screw you. They will not attend city-county meetings. They will not provide information on what the county is doing so that the city can make decisions about these joint issues. There's a lot of infrastructure issues between the city and the city of Salem and the county. There's a lot of policing issues, fire issues, you name it, there's a ton of this stuff, and the county commissioners refuse to even attend meetings. And the same is true with COG, which is the Council of Governments, which relates to all the smaller cities within the area. So I would encourage, I know this because I was there, but I would encourage you to look further into that in terms of open governance and being in this issue of cooperation within the entire region. That's it.
And so I know that was a little bit more of a statement, but I would want to talk to that a little bit. I want to talk a little bit about my management style that I have with the business that I'm with right now. I am very much a person that believes that everyone needs to be involved in making a decision. And I go to my frontline employees and I talk to them when I decide what I'm going to do with my business. I talk to other departments when it comes to, even if they're on the other side of the country, to make sure that I'm looking at all sides of things when I make a business decision. I will likewise do that in government. I plan to be very much more involved than the county commissioners currently are. I believe that I need to get out to the community with people that agree with me, with people who don't agree with me. I can commit, you will see me at chamber meetings, you will see me at city hall meetings. I'll continue to be a part of SEDCOR, and the COG, I'll be going to those. I will, one of my concerns, I talk about accountability in county government, and kind of behind the scenes of that is really accountability for doing your job and getting out there and doing it. And I am committed to making that happen. My wife can attest, if you want to talk to her afterwards, my wife can attest that I will put in whatever number of hours it takes to get the job done. I don't know, this one right here, okay.
First, I want to apologize for being 10 minutes late, so I missed all the good stuff. From what I've met you before and I've talked with you, and plus what I heard today, you sound like a great candidate whom I can support wholeheartedly, except I have one question that could be a deal breaker. I'm on the city council in Woodburn. I was on the planning commission for a long time before that. This has to do with urban growth boundary expansion.
Right.
We mentioned that briefly at another meeting one time. Right now, after a controversial process Roger Kay and a bunch of his people were opposing what we were doing, went through a very public process over a period of a long, long time, and eventually a decision was made to add some land out in the southwest, across the highway area of land adjacent to the city of Woodburn, to include that in our urban growth boundary. That has gone through appeal processes at LCDC, is now on appeal to the Oregon Court of Appeals. It was argued, there'll probably be a decision one of these days. And I suspect, I won't guarantee anything in land use, but I suspect that however the Court of Appeals rules, or maybe the Oregon Supreme Court after that, that will be the final answer, regardless of whether we like it or whether somebody else likes it. I think it's probably too late to turn back the clock on that particular application. I personally think there are a lot of good reasons for doing what we did, and I know that there are others who disagreed with me on that. But nevertheless, I hate to see a candidate say that he is, and I kind of thought I heard you say this, that you're opposed to urban growth boundary expansion, period. Now, if that's your attitude, that causes a big problem for me. I'm all in favor of protecting prime farmlands and all the good stuff. That's necessary. But I think that if you're going to strike a realistic balance between the growth that is inevitable and the job creation in our communities, living wage type jobs being created, and not relying on farm labor jobs as being the backbone of your society, you have to be prepared to attract industry. And, you know, if you don't agree with me on that, please tell me. Let's be frank with each other about it.
I definitely understand the question. And I am, you know, I mentioned in the speech earlier on that I am not opposed to growth. I have to look at each situation, and I'm going to have to determine whether or not it's needed. Are we actually going to build something there? Are we actually going to create jobs that are going to be for the benefit of the community, or are we not? I also know that there is lots of land in Marion County that you don't have to build over the top of farmland to make that happen. So I will look at each issue. I will look at the traffic issues. I will look at the water issues. I will look at the possibility of creating jobs issues. And I also am going to look at, you know, what are we doing with farmland? But you have to take a balance. I know that growth is going to need to happen. I know that growth is needed in order to keep a community vibrant and strong. I strongly believe that you can do both. You can have the growth and you can protect your family farms and your farm communities. We have some of the best soil farm country in the world. It makes no sense for us to turn this whole entire area into a mega Los Angeles.
Oh, I totally agree. Who doesn't agree with that?
But I want to make sure that we understand that 50 to 100 years down the road, if we decide to keep building on top of farmland, eventually that's what we'll have. Now, I'm not saying I'm opposed to growth. I'm all for growth on land that's not good for agriculture, or land that we can take care of the transportation and the water issues, because once again, I understand the need for growth. So I will look very closely at urban growth expansions. But I will say that I will be less likely to approve them than the current county commissioners are. But I am not opposed to doing it in some situations.
Well, really, in that one, the county was not the commissioners were not our enemy on that one. It was other folks. Although I certainly second the comments of this lady over here about the difficulties the city has in dealing with Marion County. That's absolutely